ホワイト航空103便宮崎行きはただいまご搭乗の最終案内をいたしております。お急ぎ509番ゲートよりご搭乗ください。
261 コンタクト東京タワー118デシマル2コンタクト東京タワーレッドエア261東京タワーレッドエア261今夜フリーです。グランドハンドリング146グランド完成です。プッシュバック支障はありません。グランドハンドリング146プッシュバック開始します。レッドエア261ランウェイ348クリアドフォーテイクオフウィンド350アット
皆様、まもなく離陸いたします。もう一度お席のベルトをお確かめください。到着便のご案内をいたします。ブルーエアウェイズ352便はただいま到着いたしました。皆様、飛行機は現在高度を徐々に下げております。まもなくベルト着用サインが点灯いたします。552 approach cleared for IS Zulu.
This aircraft needs to taxi. You hit the start taxiing button. The difference is most of the aircraft taxi to runway 5 or 34R, or they land and then taxi by heading south. This one has to go north. When you do taxiing in the opposite direction, you want to pay very special attention to make sure that the route is not going to go within the path of another aircraft that's already taxiing. The blue labels mean that the aircraft is on the ground and it's only going to be doing a transfer to another terminal on the ground. The yellow labels means that the aircraft is arriving, and the green labels mean that the aircraft will be departing. whenever I prepare for takeoff, you've got this plane right over here, I always check to see what it's like in the air before I give takeoff clearance so that I don't have any problems. And of course, you want to do the same thing when you do landing clearance, because there could be a lot of planes and one of them might not be able to land. This one's going to be fine.
Airlines, Flight 2041, departing
When you do a
for
pushback,
Seoul Gimpo.
the plane is over here in light blue and he's got to go to the flashing area. There could be other planes coming down. He's going in the opposite direction. So you want to make sure there's nobody in the immediate area. And you want to click the dot so that he's going to reverse into here and start driving this way up to where the flashing blue is. And also I'm going to go on the blue line just in case any other planes come down.
レッド航空653便那覇
You want to prioritize everything on the right that's in the air. Usually they're very easy to resolve. Just got to click a button. And the ones on the left I usually give a lower priority to because they usually take a little bit more work and a little bit more thought and planning. This aircraft needs to go to the runway, but there's another aircraft that could potentially be in the way. So I'm going to postpone that, which is going to give him a little bit more time to clear. I'll do him last. But I can push this one back right now. He's not going to be in the way. By the time he's ready to go, the aircraft that's being towed will probably be out of the way. On the ground map, I usually change the zoom setting so that it fits perfectly, so I can see absolutely everything. And on the sky map, I usually zoom it all the way out. This aircraft needs to taxi. However, there's other aircraft that are going to be coming south. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one on the outside here, which reduces the chance that he's going to have a collision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are gradually descending at... 皆様お待たせいたしました。今日もブルーエアウェイズをご利用いただきましてありがとうございます。この飛行機は皆様お待たせいたしました。今日もレッド航空をご利用いただきましてありがとうございます。
If you click on an aircraft, for example, we have this one red 585, you can hear the announcements that are inside the plane where they say things like, we're now departing, fasten your seatbelts, etc.
全席禁煙でございます。皆様のご協力をお願いいたします。
when a plane lands, my advice is to always use the fastest exit. The reason why I lost a game once, because I did the far exit and the other plane behind him was not able to land because it was already an aircraft on the runway.
皆様、ただいま東京国際空港。
There's a chance that this aircraft could have a collision with this one. So I'm going to hold this position. You see the other aircraft over here has to pass over, and I'm going to let him pass.
Final call for Orange Airlines, flight 645.
Some of the options over here, like approach clearance, etc., some of them look like they're not important, like ACC handoff. If you don't do it, your risk will increase, so you want to make sure you pay attention to those and take care of them. Here we have a situation where a plane is turning in and another one is next to it. And they're going to be fine because they're on different runways, but you do want to be careful that they don't have a dangerous situation. Over here, I have an aircraft that I need to taxi, but there's another aircraft on the runway, so I'm going to use an alternate route so that they don't have a head-on collision. This airplane, the WHA, he could potentially hit the GH-105, so I have to pay attention to what each of their routes are to make sure that they don't hit each other. You see how they cross over. So I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I'm going to make sure I hold one of them back. In this case, I've got these two aircraft that have to cross over. I'm going to hold the one that is repositioning so that the one that is taking off has more time to get to where he has to go. The one that's merely going to a different terminal doesn't matter so much if he's late. I occasionally check over here to see what's going on in the air. You see how this one's to the right of the blue line? That means he's landing on a different runway. But I check to see how many planes are coming in. This aircraft is coming in on runway 5, but we've also got another plane that's in the process of landing over here. So what I'm going to do is line up and wait. And then when he gets there, I'll check to see if he can take off.
皆様、飛行機は現在
お急ぎ106番ゲートよりご搭乗ください。Final Departing for Seoul Gimpo. Passengers on this flight, please 6 immediately.
This aircraft over here is ready to take off. However, there's an aircraft which is right here, the Blue 102, who's about to land. So what I have to do is I have to wait for that one to land. We're going to see him on the map over here. Over here you can see a situation where one plane is waiting for the other plane in front of it. So here's the aircraft that's landing, and once he lands, I'll be able to have that other aircraft take off. This one has to wait. Here's an example where this aircraft needs to push back, but we have another one that's arriving. So I need to wait a little bit.
Mina様、ただいま東京国際空港に到着いたしました。飛行機が
到着便のご案内をいたします。レッド航空582便はただいま到着いたしました。
The ones that say GND are obviously on the ground. The ones that say tower means that they are either taking off or landing. The DEP means departing flights, and the APP means approaching flights. I think that DEL might mean delay, but I'm not sure.
皆様、ただいま東京国際
レッド航空353便広島行きはただいまご搭乗の最終案内をいたしております。お急ぎ41番ゲートよりご搭乗ください。
You want to be careful when crossing a runway. You see, we got a plane landing over here. I had a situation where a plane landed, and then I crossed the runway, and there was another plane behind him, and he made it across, but it said it was a high-risk situation, and it really doesn't make sense why. Obviously, it was probably a big aircraft and a short time before the next plane landed, but be careful and do it as quickly as possible.
皆様、ただいま東京国際空港に到着いたしました。飛行機が完全に停止して、
Over here you can see purple 8112 is on 34 left, which is over here. So the one over here that's on here, he has takeoff clearance because there's no one else coming in who's nearby. Actually, it would be red 234 that would land on this runway. So before they take off, you want to make sure no one's about to land on that
皆様
runway.
まもなく離
Here I have two aircraft, Blue 541 and WHA 103. For Blue 541, he can get takeoff clearance, and WHA, you're going to want him to line up on and wait, but if you do it, it will end the game. So you have to hold short of runway, because if this guy has to take off before you can line him up on the runway. It's not, obviously it's not something that you expect about the game, but I lost the game once because of that.
Please do remain seated until the aircraft has come a complete.
到着便のご案内をいたします。ブルーエアウェイズ244便はただいま到着いたしました。 到着便のご案内をいたします。
一度お席のベルトをお確かめください。
2061便欧州行きはただいまご搭乗の最終案内をいたしております。お急ぎ121。Final call for Red Airlines Flight 206 61 departing for Guangzhou. Passengers on this flight, please proceed to gate 121 immediately. 便ソウル銀浦行きはただいまご搭乗の最終案内をいたしております。お急ぎ100
まもなくベルト
Final call for Blue Airways Flight 2101 departing for Seoul Gimpo. Passengers on this flight, please proceed to gate 111 immediately.
ベルト着用サインが消えるまで ただいま東京国際空港に到着いたしました。飛行機が完全に停止してベルト着用サインが消えるまで現在高度を徐々に下げております。
ブルー最終案内をいたしております。お急ぎ110番ゲートよりご搭乗ください。
いたします。 もう一度お席のベルトをお確かめください。
110 immediately. Blue Airways いたしております。お急ぎ105番ゲートよりご搭乗ください。Final call for Blue Airways Flight 221. Immediately.
ください。皆様、当機は現在高度を徐々に下げております。まもなくベルトWe will be taking off shortly. Please make sure that your seatbelt is securely fastened.
Blue Air 210 Tokyo delivery. Go ahead.
Request clearance to International Airport. Spot 111. Blue Air 210 Tokyo approach.
Blue Air 210 Tokyo delivery. Red Air 353 contact Tokyo Tower 118 decimal 2.
Contact Tokyo Tower. Red Air 353. International Airport.
高度を徐々に下げております。まもなくベルト着用サインを解消いたします。座礁式を
You got the current time, the end of the game time, how many aircraft, I believe, have landed and have made it to the terminal, the risk, which is a cumulative number since the game started. It's not like a current risk value. So if something happens, the number goes up. Your score, every time you click on something you're supposed to click on, your score goes up. Over here, you have the wind direction and the speed. This window, you can move it around. You see how it has the little dish. We'll get to that later. This obviously changes the size of the map. This switches between the ground map and the sky map. The green are the departing flights. The yellow are the landing flights approaching. And obviously the two white arrows are the direction that it's traveling. These are the runway numbers. One is for going in one direction, one is for coming in the other direction. So then we have to quit. This changes to window or full screen. That removes all of these options for communicating with planes. That changes the connection between this window and the aircraft. This is not very useful, but it shows you what is going on between you and the aircraft. This removes the map. This is the weather. This can move around, and you can resize this if you wanted to. Already explained these. Over here you have the aircraft. This is the runway it's going to land on. This is the spot number. This is, I don't know if it's the time, because it's 8:49 right now. I believe this is going to be the time that it arrives, and 9:20 is going to be the departure time, which means it's going to stay for 31 minutes, and then it's going to take off again. It says Miyazaki, which is probably where it's coming from. And then you've got the heading, the altitude, and you've got the distance. This is 62 nautical miles, the airspeed. The ILS, I think, means that when you land, the pilot is doing it by looking at the lights, the landing lights, or radio. Maybe there's some sort of a radio system when you're landing. I don't remember. The runway he's landing on, and that he's on approach. Over here we have, you can change the camera if you want to a different viewpoint. And you can change if you want the aircraft view or the tower view. For example, this is a tower view, this is the aircraft view. So if I click on an aircraft, it's going to go to that aircraft. And if I click on tower, it's going to show the same aircraft from the tower. So this one's over here. It's showing the aircraft from the tower in the middle of the screen. And when I click on this, it's going to zoom in on the aircraft. And then this lets you zoom in, like so. And then this is obviously for the music, and this is the pause option.
テクノエア101便関西行きはただいまご搭乗の最終案内をいたしております。お急ぎ3番ゲートよりご搭乗ください。
Pushback approved. Runway 05, Red Air 2061.
Black Air 103, contact Tokyo Tower 118.2, Blue Air 213, Tokyo delivery, go ahead.
Request clearance to
Red Air 210, contact Tokyo departure 126.1, Blue Air 213, Tokyo delivery, Hong Kong International Airport,
Black Air 103, on your frequency.
transport maintain
ベルト着用サインが消えるまでお席にお座りのままお待ちください。Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for flying with Blue Airways. Flight 210. ブラックエア103東京ディパーチャーレーダーコンタクト。ブラックエア103。Cross runway. Cross runway. Red Air 2061. Red Air 42 runway 34 left. Clear to land. Wind 350 at 12. Runway 34 left. Clear to land. Red Air 402. Tokyo ground. Blue Air 2131. 110. Request pushback. We have information Delta. Blue Air 2131 Tokyo ground pushback approved heading south runway 05 pushback approved runway 05 Blue Air 2131
到着便のご案内をいたします。ブルーエアウェイズ422便はただいま到着いたしました。
エクノエア101 Tokyo delivery go ahead 1、ホールドショートオブランウェイ。
ホールドショートオブランウェイ。ブルーエア201。
レッドエア210、コンタクト東京コントロール、119がデシマル2。
コンタクト東京コントロール、レッドエア210、グッデイ。東京グランド、ブルーエア231、リクエストタクシー。
ブルーエア231、タクシーバイアビクター、パパ4、パパ2、ゴルフウイスキー、ルート5、ランウェイ05。
タクシーバイヤービクター、パパ4、パパ2、ゴルフウイスキー、ルート5、ランウェイ
ブルーエア2101、ランウェイ。レッドエア540、ライトアベイラブルタクシー。ブルーエア342、コンタクト東京タワー、118ですの2。
コンタクト東京タワー、ブルーエア342。
皆様、ただいま
レッドエア
東京
540、コンタクト東京
国際空
グランド
港
121です。レッドエア353、コンタクト東京コントロール、119がデシマル2。
コンタクト東京コントロール、レッドエア353。
ブルーエア342、ランウェイ34レフト、クリア2ランド、ウィンド3バトルパス12。レッドエア542、タクシーバイアウィスキー6、ウイスキー。
タクシーバイヤーウイスキー6、ウイスキー、レッドエア542。
レッドエア482、アプローチ、クリア4 IS、ズールランウェイ34レフトアプローチ。
クリアフォー INS ズール、ランウェイ34レフトアプローチ、レッドエア482。
ブラックエア103、コンタクト東京コントロール、119がデシマル2。
コンタクト東京コントロール、ラックエア103、グッデイ。
レッドエア2061、コンタクト東京タワー118デシマル2。
コンタクト東京タワー、レッドエア2061。東京タワー、レッドエア2061、オンエアフリー検視。
レッドエア2061、ランウェイ05、ラインアップアンドウェイト。
We will be taking you
Line up on the
shortly.
Red Ear
Please make sure
2061.
that your seatbelt is securely fastened. 皆様、まもなく離陸いたします。
レッドエア
もう一度、お
2061、
席
ランウ
のベ
ェイ05。
ルトを。
レッドエア442、ライトアベイラブルタクシー。レッドエア482、コンタクト東京タワー118ですの2。
コンタクト東京タワー、レッドエア482。東京タワー、レッドエア482、スポット2。
シグナエア101、東京グランド、プッシュバックアプローチ、ヘディングウェスト、ランウェイ05。レッドエア42、ランウェイ34レフト、クリア2ランド、ウィンド350パス12。
ランウェイ34レフト、クリア2ランド、レッドエア482。タワー、レッドエア442、アルファ6。
ブルーエアウェイズ2111便北京行きはただいまご搭乗の最終案内をいたしております。お急ぎ109番ゲートよりご搭乗ください。
プッシュバック、開始します。東京グランド、レッドエア442、ブルーエア201。
Again, passengers on this flight, please
ブルーエア
proceed to gate
201、コンタクト東京タワー118デシマル
109
2。
immediately.
コンタクト東京タワー、ブルーエア201。
レッドエア442、タクシーバイアウィスキー7。
到着便のご案内をいたします。
I have an aircraft that needs to take off, but I also need to make sure that it's going to land on 34R. So what you can do is you can click on this plane and it will tell you 34L. You can click on this plane and it will say 34L. You don't have to use the menus over here.
席のベルトをお確かめください。
Blue Air 101 runway 34 right cleared for takeoff wind 350 at 12
Runway 34 right, cleared for takeoff. Blue Air 101.
Red Air 2061 contact Tokyo departure 26 Red Air 522
到着便のご案内をいたします。レッド航空587便福岡行きはただいまご搭乗の最終案内をいたします。
まもなくベルト着用サインが点灯いたします。化粧室をご利用のお客様はお早めにお済ませください。皆様、ただいま東京国際空港に到着いたしました。飛行機が完全に停止してベルト着用サインが消えるまでお席にお座りのままお待ちください。
In this case, I have a head-on occurrence with these two aircraft, this one on the top and the one on the bottom. And it's almost always because of these blue aircraft. And the reason why is because they can taxi in any direction because they're going to a different terminal. And unfortunately, if you don't pay attention, normally all the aircraft are, in this case, are going south to runway 34R or runway 5. But in his case, he's traveling north, so I had a head-on incident with another aircraft, which was this one